Hello everyone, it's Paul here. And anyway, another exciting video. Last week we dug a trench, ran some pipe, and ran electrical out here to the greenhouse. And actually this was to prep for this particular weekend. Now right now it is 60 degrees outside, but it's going to get down to 25 tomorrow night, and we could have a ½ inch of snow. We're actually under a winter weather advisory now. The snow is immaterial one way or another. It'll snow or it won't snow, but it's probably going to get down to 25. And they're saying actually that's Atlanta. We're out in the suburbs about 20 miles north of there, and they're saying we could be in the teens. So anyway, a real late smack in the face of cold weather. But anyway, now this area here is all muddy and stuff, but we started getting grass to grow, and so I mowed the grass and just threw the grass clippings down. For right now, it allows you to walk through here without getting your feet muddy. To prepare, a couple things I've done in here is I went out here and I had decided to actually bring one of my LED grow lights out, and I just hung it here. The idea here is I'm going to go ahead and start seeding out here in the grow tent. However, on nights when it's going to get very cold, I'm going to move the plants down here, and then I'll actually keep this light on until 10 o'clock at night to give them 16 hours of light. I'm going to do a couple things. First of all, I got a heater here, and anyway, you can see I'll show a picture of the heater, just one I bought from Amazon. It's a 1500 watt heater. It's got a little thing on the bottom, so if it tips over, it turns itself off. It has a thermostat. I've set it down to the lowest level. And then I got this neat little thermostat here. And this thermostat actually has, it's made by Inkbird, and it actually has two settings. You have one for heating and one for cooling. And then it's got two plugs. It's got a plug for your heating element and a plug for your cooling element. And so you run your power cord from your AC outlet and plug it in, and then another cord goes out to the outlet where you plug some stuff in. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mount it right here. It's got a little temperature probe which you can route to wherever you want it to go. I've closed this window out here. Didn't really do much with the greenhouse this year as far as weatherproofing it or anything for cold weather. Didn't really do any planting or anything like that. But anyway, this will be the first stage to get it going. We're all mounted up, and anyway, this thing here says it's 69 degrees, and this one here says it's 68.6. I've got it set so the heater down here will come on at 46, but just for demonstration purposes, let's go ahead and warm it up. Set to 75, click set, and there you go. We've turned the heat on. So anyway, when we set this up, whatever temperature we have it set up to, this is just going to act just like a thermostat in your house. I've dug out enough so I can make this fit underneath here, and let's make the modifications to that. We can hang the aquarium heater inside there. I have right here is I have my bucket, and I have my aquarium thermometer. And the idea is, I don't think it's going to, oh, it might even stick to the side of that. Anyway, so the idea behind this is I'm going to stick this aquarium thermometer inside there, and then I'm going to drill a hole across here. I didn't fill the bucket up 100%, but I filled it up halfway, and I figure I'll fill up the rest of it once I get it 100% in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install my support pole here. I'm just going to put a screw down through the pipe to hold it in place. We've almost got it so it's coming out the other side. Well, look, it'll fit right in that area right there. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. All right, the main reason for this is just to keep this from sliding out. So let me use the pipe cutter and take off the rest of this length. We've got our water in and everything. Let's put our aquarium heater in. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to route the cable through our little hole here. And then gonna just push this down. Let me just stick a tie wrap on here to hold the cable in place. And I want to try to cover up this particular hole. I know it won't be waterproof, but maybe the duct tape will make it splash proof. A little bit of duct tape on there. It doesn't hold very well because it's wet. Yeah, let me plug this into the Blue Eddy and let's just see what happens. So see if the Blue Eddy has enough power in the AC to turn this thing on. I don't know if you can see that down there, but I'm changing the numbers. But it's saying the water temperature is 78. All right, let's put her in place. All right, well, we have it in place. We fill it up with water. And anyway, the water actually is a little bit above where the duct tape hole is, and it doesn't even seem to be leaking. I'm kind of surprised by that. But anyway, the aquarium heater does not keep its temperature, so every time you lose power, you got to go in and readjust it. Got it set on 94, which is the hottest temperature, and we're going to see tonight basically what it does as far as keeping the temperature warm. Well, let's get ready for our temperatures in the teens, and let's see what happens. Next thing to prepare for this cold weather is these fans are open right here, and while they have a little louver on them, they're basically wide open. So what I did on this side is I took the louver down, and by doing that, it allows me to slide this insulation in, and so I'm essentially covering that hole with the insulation. And then once I decide that I want to get back in there, I'll just take an X-Acto knife or scissors and go in there and actually cut the holes back on, and I'll put the plate back in there, but I'll keep the insulation in there. And I'm going to do the same thing over here on this side. If I had more time, I would go ahead and take this insulation all along the back here. That's the plan. I think we're ready. Again, there's really nothing in the greenhouse that we really have to worry about getting too cold. But anyway, we've got the greenhouse closed off from the fan ports, and we'll be ready for the 19 degrees. It's a pretty cold and windy morning. We've had a maximum wind gust that I saw about 28 miles an hour. It's currently 29 degrees outside. Anyway, coming out here to check the plants. We had a real light dusting of snow flurries. But yeah, the carrot plants are not very happy. Actually, they're not very happy. And the plants underneath the tarp here, they're doing okay, I guess. Maybe putting the tarp up here is a good idea. It did rain and there's frozen ice on here. Compared to outside, the greenhouse is pretty warm. It says it's 47.3 degrees in here. And we've got this thermometer here that says it's at 46.2, so that's kind of a little bit of the difference of the height. Anyway, when it goes down to 46 or a couple degrees below that, the heater will turn on. But it appears that this tiny amount of heating, that little heater and this heated heat sink did do a little bit. If this was covered up with plastic in a small area, it probably would keep everything in that bed nice and warm. And the carrots in here seem happier than the ones outside. Anyway, we still have the blooms on and the leaves coming out on the trees here. Definitely, this right here worked very well for keeping the cold air from coming in. And as you can see, this is ice. It actually froze ice on the inside of the greenhouse. So there's actually ice that's on the inside of the greenhouse from the condensation and everything else. Anyway, looking at the weather for the rest of the week, we make it through today. It's going to get up into the low 50s. We're going to go down to 30 tonight, and then we'll be in the 40s for lows and 50s, 60s, and 70s for highs. So we'll make it through tonight, and then we can start planting the trees outside and giving them a new home. We probably will have another freeze. We usually have a big surprise, you know, the first week in April. But hopefully we won't get into the teens like we did last night. Anyway, after a week of using this fish tank heater in this Home Depot bucket, the water is staying pretty warm. Seems to be working pretty good. On some of the coldest nights, the temperature remained a few degrees, if not even warmer than that, than the surrounding temperature, so that definitely worked. But one complaint I had is that there really wasn't enough room in my area to be able to put that, a couple plants, and to put this seed tray on. So anyway, I started thinking about it, and I went out, and I love these tubs, these HDX tubs. One big thing about this is it's actually already black in color, and black is going to help absorb more heat and hold more heat in. And it's got a flat top, and so anyway, I'll just be able to fill it up with water, put the aquarium heater in there, and then put the water in there, the aquarium heater in there, and be able to put my seed tray on top of this. Now this container here is listed as a 17-gallon. It'll probably be filled with about 14 gallons of water by the time it's done. I'm gonna go do the same thing. I'm gonna go build this out. I've unplugged my aquarium heater. Now what I may end up finding is that's a 50-watt aquarium heater. I may need to step up to a 100-watt aquarium heater. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and we'll make the magic happen. So let me take it into the storage unit, and let's get started. We have our pipe here, and this is going to serve two purposes. It's going to, in case I decide just to put something on top, it's going to help support the weight on top, but it's really going to keep this from bowing out and everything else. So what I'm going to do is just drill a hole across the side here that'll go from one side to the other. So let me get my drill and my unibit. All right, cool, we have one side done. And as you can see, I'm gonna go just below the lip right here. So we still have some structural support from the side here. There we go. All right, we've got that in. Okay, so the next step I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little screw in here to keep this from basically pulling out. So all I'm looking for it to do is to actually start the hole. There we go, and that's gonna keep that from pulling out. All right, for this side here, I'm gonna pull it all the way and probably push it a little forward there. Get my pipe cutter to make a smooth cut here. There we go. The idea behind this is that basically I have something to tie the heater off to make sure that it doesn't fall all the way down, that it can actually stick to the side. And anyway, and then to support the cable. And then the other thing is this is going to keep this container from bowing out. Finally, the last piece of the puzzle is I want to create a way that I can route the wire in here. The last time when I made it, basically I made the hole way too shallow. So I'm looking at it, and I'm probably want to go with the hole actually pretty close to where that hole is. No, actually, upon thinking about it, I may actually make the hole over here structurally strong here. Actually, I may be able to leave this intact after all. That hole might be big enough to get that through. All right, there we go. So let's go put it in place. So we're just gonna pull this bucket out and hopefully not spill too much water everywhere, but it is outside in the greenhouse, so it doesn't matter. Now to put our new box in. First thing I want to do and get my gloves on, unlike the bucket, level this bucket. It's not too far off level. Get this heater in first. Oh yeah, that's hole was plenty big enough to make. All right, now let's fill it with water. It's not too far off. Well, we filled it up. I'd probably estimate with about 15 gallons inside there. Anyway, next step is we're just going to wait for about a half an hour to allow the aquarium heater to develop its temperature the temperature that it's at. And then we'll plug it in and get things heating. It's going to be kind of a cold night while this heater sets up, and then we're going to be able to quickly see if it can keep up with the larger amount of water. I may have to actually get a 100-watt thermometer instead of a 50-watt thermometer. But anyway, let me let it acclimate for 30 minutes, and we'll come back in and turn it on. Let it sit for about 30 or 40 minutes, and then I plugged it in. Anyway, the temperature on this, you can set the range from 64 degrees all the way to 94 degrees. So I want to get the most warmth out of this that I can. So I'm going to move it up to 94 degrees. And the LED came on to say this heating. So it thinks it's about 80, the water temperature is about 89 degrees right now. I want to come out and maybe check the temperature in the morning after. It's going to get down to 45 tonight, and it'll be interesting to see if it can actually keep the temperature at 94 degrees. So anyway, let me put the cover on. Let me put got the heat mat underneath there. I think it's a 30-watt heat mat, and I got the 30-watt heat mat, and then I've got the seed tray on top of that. I'm going to cover it up to hold the moisture in overnight. A little bit of heat. And honestly, I'm going to go ahead and put this cloth over. It's not getting that cold tonight, but keep a little bit of the warmth in. Now also, I have this light right here, and this light will actually kick on at sunset, and I'll go ahead, that way I can provide the plants a little bit more light. Right here I also have a thermometer. It's probably not that accurate when this light's on because it generates some heat, but anyway, this groovy thermometer, I can download the data and it'll keep track of the ups and downs. So when it actually gets cold and the heat comes on, you can actually see the temperature rise, and it slowly drops off, and then it rises and it slowly drops off. But anyway, I can tell how cold it gets tonight in here. And anyway, it's still going to be a little bit colder than it is going to be inside the soil. So let me go ahead and cover up everything for the night. In here, this thermometer says it's 65 degrees. It's a little bit higher. Down here, this temperature probe is right there. It says it's 59. The heat is set to come on at 40 degrees, so it probably won't even click on tonight. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And I hope you have a better green thumb than I do.